Hi, friend.
Hi, friend.
And to the brave hearts listening out there, welcome to Permission to be Human. I'm Andrea.
And I'm Janelle.
Get ready for some real-time relationship woo and wisdom
from the front lines with occasional tantrums and tears
about how breaking rules, blurring boundaries, and tossing tradition can be catalysts for finding your truth.
Let's debunk the fairy tales we were told as children and create a new map for life.
Yes, Disney can go fuck itself.
If you're seeking permission to choose your own path,
freedom is the new F word, people,
and want to feel less alone along the way,
we got you. Please note, this is our side of the story. Our partners and metamors have their own individual experiences, and we do not speak for them.
Hey, friend.
Hi, friend.
I'm so excited for today's episode, Brave Hearts, because we are going to be talking to Andrea about menopause, other health symptoms, and how she's tried lots of things, but that right now she is trying Ayurvedic practices, and it seems to be working.
Mm-hmm. And welcome to Permission to be Human. We are here to chat with you, Brave Hearts. And I'm excited to tell you about my solution because it's been a long time coming and it feels really good and really aligned.
Mm-hmm. And before we get into it, we just want to remind you that we are hosting Braveheart Conversations in real life. Our next one is for women only on November 21st at the Goddess Temple in Denver. And we also have our very first online Braveheart Conversation happening before that, November 2nd, which is a Saturday from 10 to 2 a.m. So check out permissiontobehuman.live/events so you can find out more and sign up.
Yay, can't wait to see you there. Okay, should we dive in?
Yes. So let's go. So Andrea, tell me, what are your symptoms?
Let's see. Well, I've been in perimenopause since I was probably about 7 years. And my symptoms along the way have been hot flashes, insomnia, and just a lot of indigestion in general and GI issues. Yeah, those are the main things that are just kind of constantly plaguing me in and out, like through different phases. I find a solution and then it doesn't work anymore. And I would say too, I have a lot of anxiety as part of my personality, but I think it has been elevated during menopause or during perimenopause.
Okay. And so you said you've been experiencing it for 6 or 7 years. So just to remind our brave hearts, you are 49, which means that around 42 is when this whole experience started.
Yeah, that's true.
And so why did you start doing Ayurveda practices?
I started chatting with a yoga teacher of mine at Karma Yoga. Her name is Gabriela Guavera, and she runs Intuitive Ayurveda. She lives in my neighborhood, and we just started chatting about the yoga class. And she told me what she did. And I'll put all her information in the show notes, but we did just an initial meeting, and I told her what I was dealing with in menopause, and she specializes in menopause solutions and treatments. And after talking with her and feeling really aligned and liking her presence, I was in, and I purchased her program. We did an intake, and then now I meet with her every 2 weeks. She prescribed very specific activities to start, and I communicate minimally with updates to her.
And you meet her in person every 2 weeks?
Nope, we Zoom.
Okay.
I find her very gentle and really embodying radical acceptance, like everything is welcome. Mm-hmm. She starts every meeting with an extensive meditation that helps me ground. And I probably most of all, like most important to me, is that she's very skilled and accepting and absorbing of all of my fiery energy.
Okay.
Like she can hold it. Like she can hold space for, I'm like, this isn't working. Oh, this hurts. I don't like this. I'm resistant to this. I feel a block around this. And she's very accepting and loving.
Okay, amazing. So I know very little about Ayurveda. And so can you give us a basic definition?
So Ayurveda is an ancient Indian science that promotes health and well-being by balancing the mind, body, and spirit. So they focus on natural treatments, nutrition, and lifestyle changes. And the word Ayurveda comes from Sanskrit, where Ayu means life and Veda means science or knowledge. So a couple key concepts of Ayurveda is that it's based on each person having a unique balance of 3 doshas. Pitta, which embodies fire and water. Vata, which embodies air and space. And Kapha, which embodies earth and water. These are considered life forces, and they are based on age, disposition, ancestry, and constitution. When your doshas are out of balance, illness can occur. And so your doshas can be in varying states along your different age path, right? So maybe when I was 25, my doshas were balanced. And then when I was 30, like they became imbalanced because of different factors.
So the goal is, just to, so I'm understanding it correctly, is that you have the doshas, but then the goal is to they get imbalanced somehow,
right? And
the goal is to balance them.
Yes, and usually, so the literal translation of a dosha is fault or accumulation, which means there's like too much of one element in you, right? And so in general, all these elements are consumed and purged, right? You take in air, you breathe out air. You take in earth, the grounding, and then you like release the grounding. You take in water and you release the water. And so if you're in balance, there's not enough refreshing of the one or the 2 elements. So in my body, fire or heat tends to accumulate. I have an accumulation of heat and dryness. So heat, which is pitta, and dryness, which is vata in my body. So I am part vata and part pitta. Some people are 2 and some people are 1.
Okay.
Again, vata, pitta, and kapha are the 3 doshas. So you can easily Google Ayurvedic doshas and read through descriptions and identify the 1 or 2 that you are.
Oh, so you don't actually have to go to a doctor to figure it out?
I mean, no, I think just reading through, you're going to say, oh, yeah, that tends to happen to me, or that tends to be what I look like. My eyes are small, I have an itchy scalp, or my skin tends to be more oily, or my tends to be more dry. It's going to be pretty easy to identify where you fall.
Okay.
What may be harder to identify is like where your imbalance is.
Mm-hmm. So then tell me, how does it work? After the intake, did she prescribe things for you to do?
Yeah, she gave me a lot of recommendations, and we take it slow. And I'm like, okay, give me things to do and I want to do them, right? So I'm like checking things off. And she said, that's fine. But, this is a long, slow practice, really, because it's a lifestyle change. It's not just taking things, right? Mm-hmm. And I can go to another doctor and get pills or get a prescription. So as we go through like my symptoms and how they've changed, you'll kind of see what she prescribed to me. Mm-hmm. And some of it makes a lot of sense to me, and other times it's completely counterintuitive.
And how long have you been doing this so far?
Yeah. I'm about 4 weeks in, and I'm meeting with her for 12 weeks.
Okay. And you've already seen a difference in 4 weeks?
For sure.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's nice and unexpected, actually.
Right. Especially for her to say it's a lifestyle change, and so it's going to take a long time. So 4 weeks, I'm sure, it can also feel long. And yet.
Yes. She's always like, oh my gosh, you're totally, like, I didn't expect you to be where you are now. Mm-hmm. Like, and of course, I'm sure that steps into like my achievement, like, oh, I'm doing a good job. But really it's like, oh no, I can already see what she means by the change, even if I'm resistant to one of the things she prescribes.
Okay. Well, so let's start with like, how has it helped you sleep, since insomnia is one of your things?
Yeah. So I think one of the key things she told me in the beginning is that when you don't digest your day, sleep is hard, right? And the digestion of your day also impacts the digestion of your food. And so I've tried something that, of course, I totally feel like I've tried before, but the combination of everything, I think, is what's helping. I'm trying yoga nidra for sleep. This is just maybe a 22-minute meditation where someone is talking to me, taking me through a relaxation meditation. I feel like, I like her voice, right? It's all about kind of finding there's hundreds of yoga nidras out there, probably thousands, that you can find on, SoundCloud or Spotify.
And so you're in bed, you got headphones on.
Sometimes, yes. Okay. I have an earbud in and I'm listening, and she's basically like helping me do a body scan. She's protecting, like, she talks about like, okay, we're drawing a circle around you. It can be, maybe it's a circle of tree limbs or a circle of flowers or divine light or a wall of clay. But like, I'm kind of just like kind of curling in, right? And protecting myself from the world. And I do find that it just really does settle me in. It's one of the things I heard early on about sleep was that if you just don't move for a long period of time, that is going to help you relax. And I do think that's true. And that's something I have a hard time doing. Like, I'm fidgety, I get hot and then I get cold. And so every time I move, like, kind of the spell is broken again. And so this has really helped. I also try to do a little bit of play before sleep, which basically means getting off my phone. I haven't started coloring yet, but that would be an ideal thing to do. Even reading something without screens has really been helpful. I'm embracing more of a nighttime routine. I mean, I've been trying to do that for fucking 20 years probably. Like, oh, do a nighttime routine. I'm like, okay. And then it just never worked. I also feel like I get in bed a lot earlier than I did, say, 5 years ago. Costa Rica really changed that because it gets dark there at 5 and then it gets light at 5, like the entire year. We just started going to bed earlier. And my husband and I still do that now. Like, we just feel like getting in bed before 9. Whereas before that, I would easily stay up out of bed until 10, like just doing things around the house. And so I think that is, that's definitely helping. And I think my robe helps because I really like my robe. And I can like lay in bed with my robe and my hood, like my head is like relaxed into the hood. And there's something very like nurturing about that.
Cocooning. So you're sleeping in your robe?
No, I start out in my robe.
Okay.
Like if it's cold enough, and then I abandon.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Yes. I sleep naked. Oh my God. I don't know how anyone sleeps with clothes.
I'm
sure you do too, don't you?
Yeah, I sleep naked.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are lots of changes, and they're having an impact.
Yeah. And I'd say they are changes, but they're small shifts, really. Like the yoga nidra is new, but I've been trying to get off my phone for a long time before sleep. And yeah, so it does that. They haven't seemed like a big lift, I would say.
Okay.
So that feels good.
All right. So then how about your morning ritual? How has that changed?
Yeah. So that's the biggest change because I really have loved my coffee, which is basically me loving sugar. Total acknowledgement there. It's like, it's not really the coffee. It's just the cream and sugar that I like. And I'm still having trouble with that. Like, definitely there's some kind of like dopamine hit or sugar addiction that I'm looking for in the morning. And so what I'm drinking instead is a hot drink with lime, salt, and maple syrup. So this is completely counterintuitive. Like, I want to drink a hot drink if it has sugar, but in general, I don't want to drink a hot drink.
I know. You're not a hot drink girl.
No. And I like the hot lime juice. Like, it's not that good. Like, a little bit of maple syrup helps, but of course, if you put too much in, then you're just having the sugar again. Yeah, it's okay. Like, I'm getting used to it. And so, yeah, it's okay. I'm doing some nostril breathing in the morning. So nostril breathing, it turns out, can really help with anxiety because it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which can help you relax and feel restored. So it helps you breathe more slowly and deeply. It activates the vagus nerve. And this nerve regulates your flight or fight response and helps you feel more calm and relaxed. This is a totally new thing for me. And it does relate to your mouth tape thing too, right? Are you still mouth taping?
Yes, not as consistently, but I still do it.
Do you feel like it's made a difference for you in any way?
I felt it just relaxed me at night.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm doing the nostril breathing in the morning, just alternating nostril breaths, box breathing. There's also something called humming bee breath that one of my old yoga teachers used to do, where you'd breathe in through your nose and then you cover your ears and you hum out. And there can be a very grounding feeling to that too. It's not my favorite, but I'm feeling into that. I've not, and just a note about mouth tape though. I I never did really like do that on a regular basis. I think there is something claustrophobic, slightly exciting, slightly scary about putting, a piece of tape over my mouth when I'm in bed, as though I've been kidnapped, basically. But my friend Greg recently recommended doing it during the day.
Oh.
Like when you're just like, if you're around the house and, you don't need to talk, if you're just like writing on the computer or doing errands, he's like, it's really just a way to kind of ground in the habit or integrate the habit of breathing through your nose instead of your mouth.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. So I have actually some tape being delivered today that I'm going to try that.
Yeah. So do you feel that you breathe through your mouth mostly?
I think I probably do. I don't know if most people do or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But for me, the interesting and still sort of puzzling thing about breathing is that I know that I tend to hold my breath when I'm excited or nervous.
Mm-hmm.
So I breathe in, and I have some resistance to letting go of the breath, as though I'm not going to breathe in again. Like I'm consuming. It's really interesting.
And holding, like that's what I'm hearing is the constriction.
Right, it's the constriction. Exactly. So this has been kind of an aha moment for me because, I used to do Wim Hof breathing and I love it, but it's actually not what I need. Like it gives me a high, of course, because holding your breath does give you a high. But this is just creating more constriction and like, it's not great for my nervous system, which is very sad to me because I love the Wim Hof breathing, but I see how I need to release, right? So I'm learning more about that. Let's see. So what else about my morning ritual has changed? Of course, I'm trying not to look at my phone immediately, and I'm completely failing. Like I just I don't know how to do that. If I don't put my phone next to my bed, that definitely helps, but I need the phone for the yoga nidra. And so, there's a little conflict there.
This is the conflict of having not wanting to be on your phone and yet your phone being the tool for what we were doing is like, that's the paradox.
Yeah, it's hard. And then I've started doing short affirmations in the AM. I just literally Googled like short meditation on YouTube, and the first thing that came up, I was like, great. Like it's 5 minutes. Like her name's Cassandra. She just goes through like a series of affirmations. I am willing to grow and change. I look in the mirror and I like what I see. I inspire the world by being myself, a handful of others. And those are fun, not fun, good. They feel good to say out loud. And then sometimes I journal after doing those. And the last thing I do in the morning, actually the first thing I'm supposed to do, but I often forget, is a splash of rose water in my face. She says to remind me of the divine.
Okay, so how long does your morning ritual take?
It really doesn't take that long, but I like to sit on the porch for at least 30 minutes.
All right, so it sounds like there are some bigger changes there in terms of lifestyle that you're getting used to, but you're navigating that. And then, so what about your diet? I know you said no daily coffee.
Right. I do have coffee maybe a few times a week as kind of a treat, like maybe not first thing in the morning. It's nice to have that. And I also am less attracted to it because it messes up my stomach. So I have less dairy. I've been trying to reduce my dairy intake for quite a while. I still eat dairy, but I'm a little more intentional with it. I'm trying to hydrate more. It's always been a challenge for me. There's something called Nature's Gatorade, and I like Gatorade anyway. So Nature's Gatorade is just lemon, lime, and maple syrup. So I mix that in my water bottle every day, and that's a little more refreshing. It's cooling, and it makes me drink the water faster. Right. I've started doing more seasonal vegetables. I was doing that already, but I'm just more attracted to that now. I'm roasting the vegetables. I put tahina on them. Maybe I'll have them with some basmati rice. That's a new staple I'm having for lunch, maybe 3 times a week. I also have overnight oats with figs and apples, no spicy food, less nightshades. Nightshades are tomatoes, peppers, potatoes, and eggplant. Tomatoes are like my favorite fucking vegetable.
I know. They're mine too. They're so good, especially in the fall.
And they have so much alkaloid in them, and they're so bad for anyone with inflammation. And so it's just so sad to me, but I am basically just having less tomatoes. Also less mixing fruit with other foods, because fruit digests so much slower. And so what happens, it messes up your digestion when everything else is digesting and the fruit is still hanging on. And so it's actually just causing disruption in your digestion by not being digested at the same rate as the other food.
Oh, so I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
So all fruits, including tomatoes, but
like raw fruit with, if I used to have paleo waffles with blueberries and sun butter.
Right.
Not great for my digestion.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I don't completely avoid that, but I'm trying to just do less of it. No smoothies. Smoothies are awful for digestion.
Why?
I don't know enough about the science. Just like all these things mixed together, just all crushed up, they're all digesting at different rates. There's so many different kinds of things we're throwing in a smoothie.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ayurvedic cookbook that she recommended, I got it from the library. It's like it has all these this gentle language throughout, right? It's so soft and so loving and nurturing. And then it's like smoothies, the nightmare of eating. They're do not drink a smoothie. Very unfortunate because it's so convenient. Less raw food for me. I need more warmth, which is so counterintuitive. I'm full of heat. I tend to be hot. And raw food is actually not great for my digestion. Totally disappointing. I would just prefer to have carrots and peppers and hummus and crackers. And then sour foods are not good for me. I love sour foods. I love vinegar. And then more coriander, cumin, cardamom, and ginger. Those are the spices that are best for my body. Much less garlic and onions. Also very challenging. So I'm developing a taste for different foods because I'm just so motivated to feel better.
Yeah.
And with digestion and with my sleep that, it's amazing how I really am shifting. Because I remember I've watched people over the years sit as I'm eating something really delicious and pleasurable, and they're having this just very simple salad. And I'm like, oh my God, how are you doing that? How are you just denying yourself of all these yummy foods? But I just feel I'm putting my body first, which is really a big step for me.
Yes.
I mean, I've always worked out, but I definitely have a resistance to health and self-care. I think that I developed from an early age. That it just doesn't matter if you're cold. Looking better is more important.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're thirsty or hungry. Getting your shit done is more important. And that's a pretty deep belief that's been hard to reverse.
Yeah. I hear you, Braveheart, breaking through those cultural conditionings.
There you go.
And so what I wanted to just ask about there, because you said you've been having these symptoms for a long time, 6 or 7 years, and you said you've tried a bunch of things, but do you feel just at this point is now your desire to feel better is just kicking in?
No. I mean, my desire to feel better was strong for a long time. I think I haven't had the indigestion for that many years. The indigestion has been more in the last say 1 or 2 years. So that is a stronger motivation. I think I have been motivated to solve my hot flashes for a long time, and those got solved in a different way. I've been motivated to sleep better for a long time, but also I wasn't linking. I think it's a little hard to explain. I think it's this combination of my anxiety plus the menopause plus lack of sleep plus the indigestion it's like kind of everything coming to a head and being like, oh, so many factors
Got it.
impacting my discomfort at this point.
Right. It's kind of been accumulative. It's not like you started here 7 years ago.
I didn't. Yes. I was just like, can't sleep. Okay. What's the problem? Like, and then I did solve that in little ways. Now I do think that menopause and anxiety was impacting my lack of sleep. And all of these things are helping both of those symptoms.
And so now as with this new diet that you're, is your stomach feeling better?
Yeah, it really does in so many ways. I mean, I'd say I'm eating with more intention. I can just intuitively tell when I shouldn't eat something now. I just know, I'm like, oh, that's not going to go well, right? I mean, even just like something as simple as like Mexican food, I'm like, probably not going to go well. Like so fucking sad. Like I just like can't even have a taco. Like there's just too many things in there. There's spiciness, there's tomatoes. And I'm realizing also that when I put caffeine and sugar in my system, it's going to impact the next meal I eat, even if that meal is good. Right? Okay. So I'll have coffee in the morning with sugar because this used to happen to me. I would have coffee and sugar in the morning. I would have a totally sensible breakfast. And for lunch, I'd have roasted vegetables and rice, something very healthy. And then my stomach would still be a mess. And it was because the coffee in the morning was making its way into that food as well.
Okay.
So it just has a long impact.
So is there anything you haven't tried yet that this Ayurvedic doctor has prescribed?
Yeah. So Maria has mentioned oil pulling, oil massage, hydration massage, a neti pot for my nose, calming teas. I have yet to do any of that. So, there's always new things I can try, but I'm trying to, it feels good to draw boundaries as well. Like she's made a couple suggestions and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that yet. Like one routine shift at a time.
Right.
One or two.
So it's more manageable.
Yeah.
And so is there a philosophy around the Ayurvedic that speaks to you?
One is that you should enjoy your food.
Okay. So wait, hold on. So you're saying you've been like, there's so much I can't eat, but underneath it, the philosophy is still that you should enjoy what you're eating.
Yes. And I think I've had people in my life before that have said, look, just eat it. Like it's good for you. Like who cares if it doesn't taste amazing? And this is always like not sat well with me. I'm just like, no, I just like I can have preferences. Like you can find healthy stuff that tastes good, I think. And so that just sort of affirms for me that like, no, I can find foods that are good for me and that taste good to me. And I think this also gets into to breaking the belief about just blindly believing some things like, no, gluten is just a bad thing. Like, no, it's not bad for everyone. And it's not necessarily bad in small amounts. There's just no hard and fast rule about food.
And what I'm actually hearing is you said, is it good for me? Does it taste good? But actually what this whole conversation to me is about is actually how does it make you feel, which is a different measurement. Yeah,
that's true. Like, does it taste good? How does it make me feel? Is it good for me? And that is really true. And I've known that for many, many years now, where I remember at some point, it wasn't actually that long ago, maybe 5 years ago, I'm like, oh, I feel like shit after eating pizza, but I love pizza and it's worth it. So who cares? Right. And then slowly, it's like almost gone. Like it's almost gone from my life and it's so sad. But yeah, I just like maybe a piece would be fine, but 2 pieces and like it's over.
Right. Yeah.
So that's true. And then the other thing about Ayurveda is that you should eat your food slowly and with intention, not while looking at your phone, not while being on the computer. I think I've caught myself just not honoring that enough. And then something that Maria mentioned to me was that Ayurvedic solutions do not need to be expensive or trendy. No supplements, no pills. And that really appealed to me because for so long I had spoken with nutritionists and people that had recommended, like, you need to get these supplements, you need to try this powder, this is really good for you. And yeah, and that didn't feel good. Like
Right.
having to spend a lot of money or take all these pills in the morning, it's just not something I want to embrace. I really want to be intentional
Right.
about what I'm putting in my body.
Yeah. I love that. That would resonate with me as well. That like actually if you're just eating the correct foods and these other things, like you're just going through life with what's, I don't know, quote unquote natural. Like in its natural form. Maybe I can say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about your exercise?
The only thing that's changed there is that I'm supposed to be doing movement in the morning, walking, or maybe walking during the day just to walk around the block. And I am incredibly resistant to this.
But you used to run all the time in the morning.
Yeah. So I still run. Morning's not my favorite time to run, but maybe I'll run twice a week in the morning. And that's exercise. But like she wants me to walk every morning.
Oh, okay.
And I do not want to get up and walk. Like, I just can't even tell you how much I don't want to do that. It is really a challenge for me. So I'm trying to set up some accountability partners to walk with me maybe twice a week.
Mm-hmm. How long is the movement that she wants you to do?
Like 20 minutes, like just pretty basic. Ideally, I would work up a sweat, which is also annoying as well because depending on the day, if I need to shower or like, but still, I do think that helps. I know that getting out into the world is a good thing for me. And I know that movement, I've heard from so many people in menopause that really helps them feel better. I've done a little bit more of it lately. And I'm really trying to walk for 20 minutes and not take my phone. And that actually feels good. Like no podcast, no phone, no music.
Right. No input.
Yeah. And that actually I love. Like I just want to be present on the walk.
I know you've mentioned that you've tried lots of things over time in the past 6 or 7 years. What are some of the other things that you've tried? And are you still doing any of those?
Yeah. So I've tried magnesium. So all the rage for menopause. Really hear a lot about this. Different types of magnesium. Take it at night. Take it in a powder form. Take it in a gummy form. Take it in a pill form. Find the one that's right for you. And this has done nothing for me. Just does not calm me. Does not help me sleep. I have used progesterone and estrogen for my hot flashes, and that's been very effective. Progesterone is also supposed to help you sleep and did not do much for me. I'm low in vitamin B and D. I think a lot of women are. And so that was something else I tried. I'm actually now getting vitamin B shot boosters from a place in my neighborhood. It's like $20 every 2 or 3 weeks. And that works much better for me because the vitamins can sometimes do a number on my GI. So that's been better. I tried gummies, THC gummies to sleep. Very effective, but over time I developed a tolerance to those. So eventually I was taking like 15 grams of THC to get to sleep.
15 milligrams.
Milligrams, sorry. And so that was too much. It just was becoming a problem. Also, those things, gummies, trazodone, there's a lot of anti-anxiety meds that actually people have learned help you sleep, even if you're not taking it for anxiety. But all of them are dehydrating. And so trazodone, the gummies, melatonin, certainly Advil PM, I wake up just completely dehydrated.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. So that's just not great for my system either because I'm already tend to be dry. And of course, things like Advil PM are just like kind of a last resort for me. Like if I'm really like gone 2 nights without sleeping, then, I'll do that. But I don't want to be taking that on a regular basis.
Right.
I tried black cohosh. I've tried other herbs from Apothecary Tinctura, a place here in Denver. Tea before bed, mushrooms. I think so many of these supplements and herbs do work for a lot of people. And I found that all of them were just not strong enough for my sleep issues.
But what I'm also hearing is that what it sounds like is Maria is putting together, is it Maria or Marie?
Maria.
So what I'm hearing though is that Maria is putting together all of these symptoms. Like your sleep sounds like it's related to your food.
Yes.
Which is related to these different mornings and exercises and all these different things. And so if you're just trying to handle your sleep,
Yeah.
then it's it's like the whack-a-mole. Like maybe you got that one thing, but then
Yes.
something else is actually impacting it.
Yeah. And this
Like
was
a holistic approach.
right. It feels comprehensive. It feels integrative. Like, yeah, it feels like she's hitting all of the different issues that I've had over the years. I also have always had like a throat clearing dryness, right? For most of my life, at least since my early 20s. And this is also combating that. Like, not directly. I haven't seen a change yet. I haven't been paying attention to that specifically, but this is saying, look, you're dry. Like, you're hot and dry. How can we fix these things?
Interesting. So the throat, I was always wondering, right? We've talked about your throat clearing.
Yeah.
Of like, you thought like it's something, but you just never could figure out what it was.
Yeah, I went to an ear, nose, and throat doctor. I've been to the allergist. Like, nothing ever really solved it. And I just feel like this was very aligned with a slow burn toward changing that too.
Okay.
So that feels good.
Were you, when you first spoke to her, were you still hesitant about trying something new?
Yeah. And I think partly because I'd already spent a lot of time and money on a lot of solutions and just thought I just was kind of at a loss. Like, well, how will this be any different than last time?
And had you heard of Ayurveda before?
Yeah. I remember I heard about it in my yoga class, my yoga training many years ago. But I didn't realize how comprehensive or holistic the medicinal part was.
Do you need permission to be human? You got it. Listen, subscribe, and review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Learn more about us at permissiontobehuman.live.